Hello. I want to talk about how I got my first rental property and how you can also do the same. So, why should you listen to me? You don't have to. Before I go into the steps, the passive income, that's a big term that's thrown around these days. I want passive income. I want my money to work for me while I sleep. That's a big thing. But it's a really misunderstood term. It's not that people want that income, it's more of a way that people can be lazy, then they can have that income. It's fine to have and want that income, but that is only really done after you do the hard work, after the active work is done. So yes, you can be more passive and more autopilot after while you do the hard work, but in the beginning, a lot of the upfront costs, upfront efforts, upfront research is in the beginning. Then after that, it's a bit more autopilot. So why should you listen to me? I have a duplex. It's been appreciating in value since 2021 or 2021. I put that in a weird way. In some areas, like especially high cost of living areas, typically you don't get that much cash flow, so you would get more of the value from the appreciation in the equity. The old way of making money is outdated. The old way is to get a job, get a high paying job, get a skill from your education, then make money from that. But the thing is, as I alluded to earlier, your income is tied with how much you work. So the millisecond you stop working, you stop making money. So the way to do it now is to make income producing assets, create income producing assets. So they come in many ways. I'm sure you've probably heard most of them. Stocks, some kind of business, equity in a business, your own business too, real estate, which I'll be talking about today, or digital media. You're viewing this now through a video. So, house hacking. Personally, I don't like the name. That is what I'm doing with my rental property. So, as I mentioned, it's a duplex. So there are two units. The first unit, I'm renting that out to my tenant, and for my unit, the smaller one, I just stay in it. So house hacking is just a term for when you have a property and you're renting out parts of it, or you can also have roommates too, whichever you want, whichever really depends on your personality and the actual real estate that you have. And real estate property, or residential property, I should say, is a single family, a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex, so up to 4 units. More than that is commercial property, so the terms of the loans, the mortgages are different. And house hacking is a very good way to kind of get your foot in the door for real estate. You're not, I'm sure it's a different ball game if you're renting out a property in a completely different state. You don't really know anyone. You have to have someone there that you trust. And it's on the job training. So if you're there, you can do the repairs yourself if you're inclined to learn, or you can just the very minor repairs you can do it yourself. And you're kind of on the property too, so you know what's going on. You can keep an eye on it. I don't want to talk about the pros and cons too much, just because I think the video is going to be way too long if I do that. So the step zero is figure out why you're doing it and if you're prepared to do it for the long haul. It's definitely a long-term decision. Real estate is probably one of the most illiquid assets out there. Illiquid just means it's hard to sell or hard to move. You can't really just pick up your house and go to another place. You have to sell everything, get all the movers, have agents involved, have the other party involved to buy your stuff, then move. It's very, very illiquid. There's a lot of inspections that happen. So it has to be a long-term decision. You have to look at it not from a 1 year standpoint, probably at least 3 to 5 years or more, because you're gonna stay in it. You have to know what you're gonna do with it. Do you think the area is going to appreciate in value? Do you think people are going to be there more or less? Where are you going to be in 5 years? So it's really, there's a lot of things going on here. So just like with other things, people only like the beginning. So for example, if you want to buy a new thing, like maybe a new game or maybe an exercise bike, you're enamored with the idea of, hey, I want to, I'm gonna use this bike every day, and that's it. But it's kind of hard to think about what's going to happen in the long term. Are you going to sell it? How are you going to sell it? It's heavy. Or are you going to move it? So you have to think about from the beginning to the end. And again, personally for me, it was an investment decision. So obviously it was an investment. The most important thing is the return on your investment and the effort you're putting into it. And one of the other steps is just save for down payments. I know it's good to just save for something, for a rainy day, for emergency funds, for medical expenses, however long that will take. And that really just depends on your budget, the area you're in, the amount that the real estates are going for around your area, where you want to invest. So it really depends, and how much you have to pay for down payment. For some reason, I had it in my mind that I had to put in 20%, that I had no other option to do it. But that's just not true. You can put 20%, but you don't have to. If you put in less, you'd have to pay mortgage insurance, which is basically their take, because if you have less equity in the house, they have to get more back in their investment. So that's just kind of them covering their risk for that. So the insurance is higher, yes, the PMI, the private mortgage insurance, but there is also an opportunity cost in waiting to save for that down payment. Do you know how much you have to save up to get to that 20%? Can you save to outpace the cost of inflating house prices? Maybe, maybe not. It really depends. So it's very personal. So step one, this is something I probably should have done too, more, should I say, which is to create your must-haves and nice-to-have. And you can do this in a few hours, and you can come back to it, look at it, maybe put another thing on it, review it. Then if you think of something new that you want to put, just put something on new to it. So it's very simple. Your must-haves are basically your non-negotiables, things that you must have there. You need to have it, or else you won't get it. If you have it, you're going to get it. And from the list, nice to have. So these are just things that you would like to have, but it's not a deal breaker essentially. So there are a lot of things here. The biggest thing is obviously location. Is it close to your work? Do you need it to be close to your work? Do you work remote? How far is it from your family? How far is it from the farthest gym? Is it close to a grocery store that you like, that you need to go? Or maybe for the number of bedrooms, how many people are you? Does it need to be two? Can it just be a bachelor pad, just a studio apartment? Is there a lot of space that you need? Do you need storage to store your stuff? So with this, you can make your storage, or should I say your search, easier, because you have a list to compare it to. Because typically you might go too crazy and just search for everything in the area. But this will help your search because you know what you need, and if it doesn't hit that, it's a binary decision. Yes, this fits the box. Okay. Yes or no, it doesn't. Okay, I don't. Then the nice to haves too. Of course, you would want more space, you would want to be close, but you can't really get everything. But it's still nice to put what you might want to put there. And on the right, I put my own personal requirements or my list when I did mine. So I wanted a duplex. I wanted a place where there's a hookup for the laundry and washer so I can get my own laundry machine and put it there. Garage, quiet neighborhood, working exhaust, no shed walls. So sometimes they could be flexible, but you have to have a line of where what you must have and what you don't want to have. Step two, go to Zillow or any site that you want. There's also redfin.com. There's a lot of sites out there, and talk to a real estate agent, or not just one, but many. So you want to talk to them because they don't get paid until they close the sale. So you can just kind of ask around really, and you have to be strategic about this. You can't just ask blindly that you want this thing or that thing. You want to say that, hey, this is my name. I'm looking for the specific lists. I have this budget, and that just makes you more professional than someone just says, oh, I want a house. Like you want to make their job easier, not harder. So that's why I had that first step earlier about making your must-haves, your budget, what kind of life situation you have, and you can kind of use that as an introduction. You can say that these are my requirements. I'm looking around these areas. I'm looking in this city, that city, this city, and that just makes the job easier too. So just talk to as much as you can. Some will help you out. Some are just busy. And you can get a vibe of how they interact with you. Are they friendly? Do they feel there's something off with them? And as much as you can, meet them in person. If they have like a open house or something, just go with them, check out a house, and talk with them, and just see. You can kind of feel out for people. Sometimes you just feel that something's off, and you'll see, or not, but it's a good way to kind of scope out who you may or may not want to work with. Step 3 is to get a pre-approval letter. So a pre-approval letter is essentially a letter that says that you are pre-approved pending other information for this specific amount based on your budget, based on your income, based on your credit score, for this amount of house that you want. So for example, you're pre-approved for this $400,000 amount, and they typically last for 90 days. You might get like a soft inquiry, an inquiry on your reports, on your credit score, but it's not a big deal because it's not a big deal really. People are too obsessed with their credit reports. So the lender that you have will be probably from your agent, and you can work with different agents too, or lenders if you want. They'll just ask basic stuff like your bank accounts, proof of income, W-2s, tax reports, just so they know that there's proof that you have money really. And this is really good too, to be able to show that you have a pre-approval letter when you go to make a bid, to make an offer to a house, and say like, hey, I have a pre-approval letter, I'm excited, I'm a serious buyer, as opposed to someone who just doesn't have something. They just, oh, here's an offer. Okay, but a pre-approval letter shows that you're just a few steps away from the lender being able to close the deal and the money being funded really. And this is, for me, is the fun part. For the step 4, draw up calculations. I'm an accountant by training, so here you can make an very easy Excel sheet. There's nothing crazy. You can pretty much estimate the price of the property, the amount of down payment you're probably gonna be able to put down, or if you want, it depends on you. And the typical conventional loan here in the States is 30 years, fixed rate. This is back when the rates were still lower. So you have to change and fiddle with the calculations. And this, like I said, because real estate is really about return on investment. It's a long-term decision. So investments is all about numbers, it's about the money. So here I put how much I think you'd be putting down for your mortgage, your property taxes. Really depends. You have to look into your county. That depends on your county, or whoever takes the property taxes. The insurance, you can get rough estimates here from Zillow maybe. An HOA if there is one. Property management, this will only happen if you're actually paying a property management company to manage a property for you. Repairs and MISC, these are just more for reserves. That's more of an estimated thing, but it's always good to have reserves for if you need it for repairs, if something goes wrong, whatnot. Vacancy is just kind of an estimate if maybe the property would be vacant for a certain part of the year. Um, and this is actually one of one of my calculations when I did mine. And I think this is part 2. Yep. So, and I put the estimated income that I would get from the property. The housing cost opportunity cost, you don't have to put that. I just like to put it in. So after that, of course, you have your monthly cash flow. For the example, I was net negative $500 to live in that property while getting income. So yes, for house hacking, you might not get money first, you might not get the return, but at least it would drastically reduce your living expenses. And I'm sure that most people, random statistic is that probably a lot of people have their number one expense is housing. And if you're able to reduce that by a huge margin, you're winning. So you want to keep looking. You want to be able to just keep up with the agents. Keep looking around, see if it fits your must-haves and nice-to-haves handy, and just send offers to good deals that you see that actually hits that. But don't get discouraged. Sometimes it's just not a good time to have a rental property. Sometimes it is. So you want to be kind of on it, but not too crazy, because if you're too crazy on it, you might just feel bad and discouraged from it. It's just part of the game. It's a long-term investment, so take your time, really. And yeah, sometimes you might want to really negotiate with lenders, because sometimes if you do have inspection for the property and you find that that is broken, the door is broken, or you need some repairs to be done, you can always negotiate, because everything is negotiable with the lenders and the sellers. Step 6, due diligence. So this part is maybe you can do your inspections. You really want to make sure, because it's really illiquid. Like, houses are very illiquid to sell and really hard to move. So you want to see if you want to get everything inspected. You just want to get everything inspected. Sure, it may cost money, but in the long run, it's just better to be safe than sorry. And sometimes, yeah, you have to just have an intuition, and maybe your intuition, your gut's telling you something that's off or something's right, and maybe you may want to lean on that. I know it's not especially scientific or rational to say that, but sometimes your gut just knows. Finally, we're almost going to the end. Um, if you have an offer in, congratulations, you're a landlord, or at least you're a homeowner. So the first thing you want to do is to actually get settled in the property, get your repairs done, get all the new paint if you want, just to make it a little bit nicer, because paint's just one of those low cost things, but will make the place look much better, especially for the tenants. So please get professional photos taken, and please get professional, at least copy how other people have done it, the better ones, the more professional ones, of how they write their ads. Put them on Zillow, and if anyone's responded to you, just respond to them ASAP, because it just looks bad if you just take way too long. There's like the harder part too, because you have to kind of essentially screen for good tenants, and you have to do a lot of the legwork here. You have to schedule people coming in, you have to talk with them on the phone, suss them out, get a credit score report. And Zillow, which I used, has a free tool where you can pay them to run a credit score check on someone. So there's a lot of going on here. It's a lot of logistical planning and people coming in. So finally, congratulations, a homeowner and a landlord. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's much more settled and much more a smoother process now that you have a landlord and tenants to help your property. But since you have tenants, they can pay and help you with the mortgage. And just please take care of them. It's really hard to come by good tenants. So if they need anything, make sure that you're there. If they need something repaired, which ideally you would have done before putting them in there, but If there's something that breaks, please get someone there ASAP. So it's really good to have a list of handymen that you already have before things break. So when things break, you can just call someone up and they can be there right there and there. And just take care of them, because it's going to be a business relationship, but it's a good one too. It's not all about business. But yeah, so hopefully you learned something from this. And for a next video, I'll probably talk more of the pros and cons. I didn't think it'd be this long, but I'm a bit chatty. But thank you for watching.